Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Beware of the brushing scam. I find them all over the place, Wyatt. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Starting next week. Hey, it's holiday, month almost? I would say for most people, their next 2 or 3 weeks, they're pretty much just checked out. I think that's what Wyatt and I are feeling right now. A little checked out at times, ready for the holidays. Due to Christmas and New Year's this year being smack dab in the middle of the week, we're going to be taking the next week and a half off starting next week. And what we decided to do for this week is really go back to an incredible year of shows, incredible year of guests, and highlight some of those key guests that we had on. So if there's a guest that you listen to on Drive Time Nebraska you'd like to hear again, you can call or text us at Hunt Irrigation Talking text line 402-479-1400. Well, during the first week of the show back in April, I brought on my dear friend to talk about money and our economy. And what I found out to be true across the board, and I've been working with people with finances for years now, is some 70% of people worry or are stressed out about their personal finances. And today's guest is going to give us a gut, honest, truth reaction of what's really happening in our economy in regards to inflation and how it's impacting our lives. He's also going to give us some great tips on how to best handle your finances. Plus, I'm telling you, Wyatt, here's the thing. I believe that in our economy now, you have to have multiple streams of income because you never know when one or two or your main source of income is going to be gone. So he's going to talk about how to increase your income as well. His name is Jerry Robinson, national economist and veteran trend trader. He has the best-selling book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation. You can go and get that. He also has a website, followthemoney.com, where he's helped thousands and thousands and thousands of regular, everyday individuals profit from the stock market, cryptocurrencies, commodities. He started helping people with their own businesses as well. I've utilized his services. Absolutely love him. He's from Arkansas. So you're going to love hearing from him in just a couple of minutes. All right, back to beware of brushing scam. You know, last week we had on our resident cybersecurity expert, Tristan Lawson, and he really talked about a lot of scams going on around the holidays. This is a new one. This has been circulating around Facebook and on social media. So I wanted to clarify it a little bit. I didn't know about it, first of all, but I also found out that people are trying to fearmonger as well. Well, here's what it is. It's a recent scam. It's been showing up. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. The brushing scam is when someone receives an unexpected gift or an item that they didn't order from a place like Amazon or any other company that you recognize. Maybe it's a gift like rings, bracelets, necklaces, Bluetooth speakers, that type of stuff. And the gift will have the recipient's address on it, but will not include the sender's information or the retailer's information. So what it looks like is, I got a gift from somebody. Who's it from? Well, when the recipient opens a package to see who it is possibly from, there's a QR code and it says, scan this to find out who sent you your gift. And the mere act of scanning this code, and this is where a lot of the fear mongering came in. People say, well, if you scan the code, then they're just going to have direct access to your phone. They're going to download all your bank information, credit card information, personal information. That's not true. If you do scan the QR code, they're going to take you to the next step to try to get logon information and more information off your phone. So my recommendation is this. If you get a package and there's really no return address, you don't know who it's from, there's a QR code in there that says, hey, do you want to find out if Wyatt sent you a gift or Doug sent you a gift? Scan the code and we'll let you know. Do not scan the code. It's just a scam. And so that's a new one. I hadn't heard about this one before, but I also knew there were people out there talking about how bad it was. And the reality is it is bad if you continue to add your personal information, but that's what we've been talking about. Do not give your personal information out to anybody unless you absolutely know who they are. All right, we're going to take our first break here. When we come back, we'll be joined by national economist and best-selling author Jerry Robinson. If you've got a question or comment throughout the show, or you want to hear a special guest down the road, all you have to do is call or text the Hunt Irrigation Talking text line 402-479-1400. Thanks so much for listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
The holiday spirit is alive and well on our sister station, B107.3. But we'll be here when you need us. 1499.3 KLIN.
Which room in your home could use new flooring? Carpets Direct is your #1 source for all things floors, providing free in-home estimates, unparalleled service, and a 2-year guarantee. Your home should be your sanctuary, and Carpets Direct has you covered. From plush carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, laminate, and sheet vinyl flooring, Carpets Direct is the ultimate flooring destination. Call or visit today, South 48th Street, Lincoln.
Enjoy your life at Fallbrook Assisted Living and Memory Care in Lincoln. Here's Megan Hayes, Sales Director.
At Fallbrook, we promote a lifestyle where you choose, encouraging friendships, flavorful meals, and supportive care when you need it. We're all about you and helping you feel at home. We invite you to enjoy your life at Fallbrook Assisted Living and Memory Care. Call us for a tour.
Apartments are available. Visit fallbrookassisted.com, an MJ Senior Living community.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit gocurrency.com and apply today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Disagree with Doug? The guests? The topic? Call or text 402-479-1400 now to be a part of the show. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Mostly cloudy and chilly this evening. A few sprinkles or flurries can't be completely ruled out. Temperature dropping into the upper 20s by midnight. After midnight, partly to mostly cloudy and cold. There is a slight chance of flurries, low in the mid-20s. Wednesday, mostly sunny to partly cloudy and chilly with a high in the upper 30s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
On the downhill side of our drive time traffic, no accidents or major delays. Most traffic moving well. A few volume slowdowns. We do have several construction projects and utility projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Keep in mind O Street, 13th to 10th Street, westbound lane closure and right turn lane closure for water main repair. And South 56, South Street to normal, southbound lane shift to the northbound lane for utility work. Make sure the headlights are on. If you come across anything that slows you down, call the traffic hotline 402-479-1414. Keeping you moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Tackling the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans head on. With the occasional targeting call, this is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald, 1499.3 KLIN.
Who doesn't like a little Mike and the Mechanics to get them home? I love this song. Almost used it as our intro song, but it wasn't quite as dramatic. But anyway, we'll keep playing it because it's a good one. All right. It's holiday time. Yesterday we had on Lisa Mosier, and she's the former Miss Ohio USA, former Mrs. International, author, speaker, international speaker, by the way, successful businesswoman from Ohio. With the holidays coming on, it can be very stressful. So she shared with us 6 vital tips to help us positively handle disappointment. If you missed the show, you can go to our podcast and check it out at klin.com. Well, this week we're highlighting a few of the powerful shows that we had in 2024 as we close out the year and look forward to 2025. Today we're going to hear from our dear friend of the show, Jerry Robinson.
Well, our topic today, money. We're going to be taking a behind-the-scenes look of our current economic climate and how it's impacting each of us. You know, when you talk to your friends and your neighbors and you're out and about, finances usually come up. People talk about inflation, the rising in prices of everything from gasoline to groceries to rent, especially here in Lincoln, and other things. Our guest today is going to help us understand inflation a little bit better and how to deal with our personal finances, hopefully successfully, so it impacts your family better as well. Jerry Robinson's a national economist and veteran trend trader, best-selling author of the book Bankruptcy of Our Nation. Go to Amazon.com and get it. And he's a frequent guest on TV, radio, and podcast programs as well. So, Jerry, welcome to Drive Time Nebraska.
Oh, it's great to be here, Doug. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited that you're here on the show today. We've met, and I've had you on my show, One Shot, One Life, a couple of times. You're a good friend of the show. Provide some great information. I've been following your work as well for a long time. So the only people I have on my show, One Shot, One Life, are people who have proven plans, and that's exactly what you have. So let's go ahead and start out by talking, just share about yourself, your passion, and how you got involved and passionate about economics and finances.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me on the show, Doug. It's great to be here with your listeners. My name, again, Jerry Robinson. I'm an investor, trend trading coach, author. I have a passion for teaching others how to achieve financial independence. And over the years, I've written extensively on the topic of global economics and investing in personal finance, really aiming to simplify complex financial concepts for everyday people. You know, one of the things I noticed when I was studying economics at the university level, and also as an investor, is that many times the concepts and the language that is used in the financial world is often obtuse, maybe intentionally so, and it causes some people to kind of get paralysis by analysis. and that can lead people to just not make good decisions because they feel like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know how to do it. And so my mission has been to empower individuals to help them make those informed financial decisions through strategic investing, smart income creation, strategic financial planning. We love to point people to financial planners so that somebody can take an X-ray of their financial life and really help them, create a custom plan. I'm not a financial planner per se, but I consider myself a kind of a spark for that, to help people realize that that's really what they need to do. That everybody needs to have their own custom financial plan. And so that's ultimately what we're driving people towards, is to really take control of their financial lives, take control of their financial destinies. And that takes action. You know, you got to get off the couch. You know, you got to turn off the tube. You got to be thinking about your own situation. And that's what we try to inspire people to do.
Well, Jerry, yesterday the Consumer Price Index was released. It climbed to 3.5% year over year in March, faster than they were anticipating. The strong pace was driven by upticks in costs of housing and gasoline and a bunch of other things. And I know just enough to know that that's not the whole picture. Because here in Lincoln, Jerry, we're seeing prices of groceries, gasoline, homes, cars, and so much more up more than that 3.5%. In cases, we're seeing the increases between 10 and 100%. Home prices are through the roof. Overall interest rates on mortgages are over 7%. Credit card interest rates are over 30% now, which is nuts. Can you walk us through what inflation is and ultimately just help break it down for us at a very basic level so that we can better understand it and why it and how it impacts really our personal finances?
Absolutely. So inflation, now I come at this from a different perspective than, say, the Washington economists. You know, in Washington, the average economist is viewing this through what we would call Keynesian economics, named after John Maynard Keynes, which became popular in the post-World War II era, and even before that. But from our perspective, we take a more Austrian economics approach. And when you look at it through that lens, what you see is that inflation is not just simply a general increase in the price of goods and services, but instead it actually begins whenever you begin to create more currency. And so really inflation is the increase in the money supply. This is probably the most simple way to understand it. Now, that obviously is going to translate into higher prices. But it is actually the creation of more money or an increase in the money supply itself that ultimately leads to that. And a perfect example of that is that if you have, $10 in your, let's say we just have like a little monopoly economy here, and we say we have $10 of total money supply. Well, nothing can cost more than $10. And if we boost that up to $20, well, now something can cost more than $10. And so the point is, as you inject more money into the system, everything can go up in value. Now, one more point there is that you also have the idea that businesses can take advantage of that. And so when the expectations are that prices are rising, well, businesses being smart, typically smart, and they're trying to maximize profits and increase shareholder value, what they're going to do is they're going to raise prices as well, regardless of what's going on in the economy. Even if inflation is coming down, even if the money supply is beginning to come down, they may still raise prices if they think they can get it. So that's what we call equilibrium price. And right now, many people have been paying more for things than they did 4 years ago. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we've seen so much money pushed into the system to battle the pandemic, and then, of course, the supply chain constraints and all the things we've seen. But then on top of that, you also have this, big business taking advantage of the expectations of rising prices, and people are willing to pay it, and so businesses will charge it. So that's what inflation ultimately is. Now, the report we saw yesterday, we get a monthly CPI report from Washington as I mentioned, every month. We did see that number is stubbornly high. We did see it come in the highest since September, came in at around 3.5%. And what that means is that year over year, the consumer price index, which is really, as you pointed out, kind of a rigged index. It's not really representative of what we are, buying and selling on a daily basis. It's not a really good overall index. But when you look at it, you'll see that about half of it, about half of the overall increase was due to shelter costs, that's housing, and also gasoline costs. We've been seeing these creeping gasoline costs going up. And so, this is what we're seeing. We did see used vehicle prices fall. That's good. We did see a few other areas fall as well, but it was really the shelter costs, which are very sticky. Service costs remain elevated. And these have been the things that economists have been looking at and wondering, when are we going to see these things come down? Well, from a political standpoint, you can imagine, Doug, the Biden administration wants to see these numbers come down sooner rather than later. And
right.
So we'll see how that works. We'll see if that happens. Now, one final thing to say about it all is that many people know that in addition to elevated inflation, we've also seen elevated interest rates. And the Federal Reserve is planning on cutting interest rates, but they're waiting for inflation to come back down, and they want to see a steady path down to their 2% target. We just said it was 3.5% year over year. Well, they want to see a 2% year over year growth rate. And so as long as it remains elevated, well, then it's going to be difficult. And if it's not coming down in a sustained way, then it's going to delay those rate cuts. So before yesterday's meeting, the expectation was we were going to see the very first interest rate cut in June. That's good news for people who are buying a house or taking on debt or whatever the case might be. But after that inflation report came out, we saw that number get really dashed. And so now the very first expectation of a Fed rate cut is all the way out to July, maybe even September. And so obviously that factors into many things, those interest rate expectations and inflation, all these moving parts, but they really boil down to, the average family trying to budget their money. And it's been a very difficult time over the last few years because of that.
Yeah. And it's not going to, well, obviously, if they're not going to drop interest rates either, that's not going to be any easier if we're looking 3, 4, 5 months out before they even make that decision. So that's hard to understand. The other part of that too, Jerry, and we're going to go to a break here in just a minute, but the other thing that's hard to understand too is they want to guarantee an interest rate of rates at inflation rate of 2 to 4%, which means there's a guarantee of every dollar that we make. They're going to guarantee every year we're going to lose 2 to 4% of that dollar's purchasing power. And people need to understand that and then take action with their own personal finance finances to combat that. So, Jerry, we're going to take our next break here. And when we return, I'm excited because you're going to give us some specific steps to take to gain full control of our finances during these tough times for a lot of people right here in Lincoln, around the state of Nebraska, and around the country. Plus, later on, he's going to give us tips on how to best invest for our future while trying to make ends meet.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us on your drive home today. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Whatever the story, have your say.
How can politics not play a role?
Your station, your conversation.
It's all relevant.
1499.3 KLIN.
Have you inherited silver or gold? Lincoln Coin and Bullion will appraise and guide you. Nebraska's largest dealer by appointment only. Call and schedule your private appointment today.
Discover the difference with Oak Electric, a local woman-owned business offering premium electrical service at competitive prices. With over 25 years of experience, their master electrician is one of Lincoln's top experts. Their small, dedicated team focuses on quality control and safety for your family or business. Experience the premium customer service you deserve. When life happens, call Oak Electric at 402-440-5969 because they always answer the phone. Oak Electric, where quality and safety come first.
Does it feel like
7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. Now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100% pain-free.
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, walked out of the store. All the pain was gone. My back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Come to the Good Feet store this holiday season and give the gift of pain relief to you and your loved ones. Visit the store at 27th and Pine Lake Road across from South Point Mall or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. FSA HSA eligible. Please check with your provider. Gift cards are available. Come in and get a free personalized fitting today.
Best of Big Red, the best selection of Adidas sideline gear.
The best variety of women's style.
Kids apparel, volleyball gear, autographed items, home and office decor, custom items, and even exclusive NIL player jerseys. Commemorate this year's Pinstripe Bowl appearance and the volleyball team's 5th Big Ten championship with limited edition items. The only locally owned Husker shop. 2 locations, 70th and A and 8th and Q. Always open at bestofbigred.com. Best of Big Red, the best for your Big Red life.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Mostly cloudy and chilly this evening. A few sprinkles or flurries can't be completely ruled out. Temperature dropping into the upper 20s by midnight. After midnight, partly to mostly cloudy and cold. There is a slight chance of flurries, low in the mid-20s. Wednesday, mostly sunny to partly cloudy and chilly with a high in the upper 30s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
Wrapping up our traffic reports, correction on a closure. South 56 is actually closed from Normal Boulevard to Van Dorn southbound. You'll want to choose an alternate route. And we do have several downtown street building projects. Do watch for lane closures in the downtown area. Make sure the headlights are on, keeping you moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Training threes on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional technical or two. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Welcome back to the show. We appreciate it, and we also appreciate our title sponsor, Lincoln Coin and Bullion. They work by appointment only. Call them up. They like to have your privacy at its utmost, and they like to answer all your questions as well. So give them a call, 402-327-2853. Or go to their website, lincolncoinandbullion.com, if you're interested in buying gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. All right, well, starting next week, we're going to be about a week and a half off. Wyatt and I are going to take some holiday time off, which will be great. Christmas and New Year's falls in the middle of the week, so it kind of messes things up a little bit with our programming. So this week, what we've been doing is running some of the highlights of some of the awesome shows that we've had and the amazing guests that we've had. in 2024. If there's a clip that you'd like to hear or rehear again, you can call or text in at 402-479-1400.
Today, we're joined by national economist and best-selling author Jerry Robinson. Last segment, Jerry shared with us his take on inflation and how it's ultimately deeply impacting each of our lives financially and our families. If you've liked what you've heard so far, Jerry will be joining me on my nationally syndicated show, Coast to Coast, One Shot, One Life, this weekend. You can catch it right here on 1499.3 KLIN, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Jerry, I know you have a passion for helping people gain control over their personal finances, telling your money what to do and not letting it tell you what to do. For the next several minutes, I'd love for you to give us some tips on how we can best handle our personal finances during these difficult times.
Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had just talked about the topic of inflation, and inflation, of course, is just one of many different eroding factors on money. You know, money is not math and math is not money. One famed economist once said that, and I think it's very true. So there's eroding factors on money. If you take an apple and you set it on a table and you take a dollar bill and you set it right next to that apple and you walk away for 10 years and you come back, well, you'll see that the apple is gone. That dollar bill will still be there, but it won't buy the same amount that it used to. As you had pointed out, we're losing 2 to 4% through inflation, but that's just one eroding factor. We also have taxes, which are eroding the value of our dollars, and technological change, and of course, lost opportunity costs, and of course, interest rates and stock market declines and lawsuits and all of these different things that can really erode our money. And so we have to be smart with the resources we've been given. And the best way we really can think about doing that is through diversification. So diversification, we tend to think in terms of not just simply having diversified investments. We've all heard this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Very true. You don't want to do that. But you also want to think in terms of how can I diversify my savings? How can I diversify my income? And so we want to think in terms of a diversification across all facets of our, finances. And one of the things I would certainly say is that wealth without health is not all it's cracked up to be. You know, staying healthy is one of the smartest things that you can do for your financial future. The cost of healthcare and medicine and all the things we see in the healthcare space, is greatly causing a lot of, harm to people's finances. And so really staying healthy and doing what you can to become unhealthy is one of the very best things that you can do for your financial plan. In addition, you also want to focus upon building an emergency fund. We like to call it a financial safety net, usually about 6 months of liquid savings based upon your income. So that could be awfully high for some people. They may not be able to immediately save 6 months of gross income off the bat, but we would say just start where you can and begin saving because life can happen. And so it's very important for you to have that savings cushion. And oftentimes the reason why people end up in a world of hurt is A, health, or B, a lack of savings, or sometimes both. And so the way you can get there quicker, of course, is to aim to cut unnecessary expenses, to learn the difference between wants and needs, to prioritize essential spending, and then also to increase your income, right? Maybe through side gigs or freelance work on the side. One of the things we teach here at followthemoney.com is the power of trading. We teach very, very simple trend trading strategies that you're familiar with,
yep.
Doug. And so trading can be another way to, boost your income. And then, of course, you also want to avoid taking on high interest debt. That can become a trap in tough times like today. And then, of course, investing in your financial education. Now, I got to say, one of the very best money I've spent when it comes to my finances has been just to stay educated. I spend a lot of money on constant continuing education, and that has really helped me over the years, and it's certainly helped people that I've coached over the years. So certainly digging in and not assuming that we know everything, but really, taking time to learn about new things. One of the things we talk about in the book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation, in chapter 14, is entitled 21 Income Streams That You Can Create Now and in Retirement. And Doug, many people are blown away because when they read that chapter, because they said, well, I knew I could start a business, or I knew that I could go get a second job, but I didn't know there were 20 plus different income streams I could create for myself, And so this is a really powerful thing. We really have to think outside the box in this kind of economy. We really have to think outside the box and come up with novel and creative strategies to help us get ahead. And diversifying income is one of the passions we have for teaching people.
No, that's so important. And I'm a big believer. I learned from you and so many other people. Number one, personal education. Yes. Number two, multiple streams of income. I think I had you on, I think a year ago or so, and I went through my personal life and my wife's personal life. I think we had a minimum of 16 multiple streams of income. And like you said, in our current economy, everything from investments or dividends to businesses to, revenue sharing, all kinds of things, jobs, gigs, whatever it is. But those help you along the way, because and let me know what you think about this, but if you're currently with inflation going up and your expenses are higher, but maybe you're at a job and what we're learning is that personal incomes at their jobs aren't keeping pace with inflation, you've got to find other ways to add to that, to supplement that. Is that not correct?
You have to. I mean, you have Social Security income, which many people are going to be relying upon in the future, and that's in crisis. We have Medicare, which is running out of funding. We have pension systems, which are underfunded, and many of them are, going to be potentially failing over the next 10, 20 years if things don't change. The personal savings rate here in America is dismally low. You have many people not utilizing their IRA or their 401k and really, maximizing the potential there. So they're not really saving enough for retirement. And then you have consumer debt levels. I just read recently that, credit card debt levels are pretty high. Of course, they're really high, but also the default rate is rising at a record pace. So you have that. We also have, in the strange way, advances in medical technology, which have increased the risk of outliving our money. And so in one way, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So we are blessed to have all of this medicine and the drugs that are able to extend our lives, but it also comes at a great cost if we're not prepared for that. So income diversification. So many people might be listening and saying, well, I have a job, and that job is just paying me enough to not leave it, or just paying me enough not to quit. And so what can I do? Well, you can certainly find another income stream, and that's what I would encourage you to do. And you can't start 20 tomorrow. You got to really take time. It took me many, many years to build multiple streams of income, and you have to have patience, and you got to be creative, and you've got to spend time on it. You got, like I said, you got to turn that TV off, and you've got to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, preferably with your spouse if you're married, and do this together. This is something that you guys can do together, and you can really make a difference. But again, I want to go back to one of the first things we said was the health. The health is one of the things that you can immediately do to improve your overall, especially if you're, spending money on medicines that may be things that are, you may not have to do, maybe through better health practices, you could get off of, prescription drugs. That could be a big savings to you. So there's lots of different things that people can do, to really boost income and to get ahead financially.
In the last couple of minutes here in this segment, let's talk about the D word for people, debt. That's what kills people. I mean, that's what suffocates people. What do people do if they find themselves way overhead in debt?
Yeah, debt is a problem. American debt is out of control. America, quite frankly, has an addiction to debt. And we know this because we see the U.S. national debt standing at a whopping 33, 34 trillion, whatever it is currently. And it doesn't matter which political party you put into office. It just continues to, get worse. Credit card debt, auto loan debt, mortgage debt at the personal level. We continue to see this here. So Americans do have a love affair with debt. Sadly, we think it's probably going to come to an end in a bad way. So how can you protect yourself from, in fact, when we think about it, America's whole economic system is debt-based.
Yep.
And that's a whole other topic for a whole other show. But,
get his book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation.
The debt-based economic system, it eventually could implode as well. And so the best way for you to protect yourself from that whole thing is simply to deleverage yourself, reduce your debt loads. we actually have a completely free resource. You don't even need to buy the book for this. You can just go to followthemoney.com/debt. And there we teach a very cool debt stacking technique that allows you to literally pay off all of your debts in about 5 to 9 years, not just credit cards, but your home mortgage, your auto loans, your student loans, other consumer debts. So you could be debt free in 5 to 9 years. We've seen many of our students and members do it. So it's something that's very, very important. And if you're listening to this today and you say, investing sounds great and all this about saving, that sounds great and income, but I'm just sitting underneath a mountain of debt, this is probably the place to start. Now, I wouldn't be going and trying to invest a bunch of money or speculate if I had a whole bunch of debt. I would want to take care of that first. So that's what I would encourage people to do, is just take advantage of the free podcasts and resources and downloads we have on that page, followthemoney.com/debt. That's a great place to start. But you really can get out of debt. It's not something that has to define you. And also, it has a crippling effect on your mentality and upon your psyche. So it can really cause you to, not want to invest or not want to get ahead financially, because you just simply feel like a loser. You feel like, man, I just really kind of blew it. And so, this is something you have to overcome, and you have to have a strategy.
It's possible. Here's how I know it's possible. We did it 26 years ago. I remember looking at my son in the eye. He was I think he was 1 year old at the time, 1 year old. And I looked at him, I said, I don't want him to feel the stress that I'm feeling with debt. And my wife and I did what we could do. We got information. We educated ourselves the best we could. And we just buckled down and we did it. We got rid of tens of thousands of dollars of debt over the next several years. And I'm telling you, when you get on the other side, there is a freedom that happens that allows you not only to take a deep breath, but then it allows you to start dreaming again. It allows you to start saying, what's possible with my life as I move forward? So, Jerry, thanks for the great information. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, he's going to give us his best tips now on when we look at investing and how can we do that during these stressful financial times that we're living in today.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us on your drive home today. We'll be back with Jerry Robinson right after this.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
1499.3 KLIN. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Sports Nightly is next on 1499.3 KLIN.
It's the season of joy and a time to reflect on all of our blessings.
One of the real joys of the holiday season is the opportunity to say thank you to our patients and to wish each of you the very best for the new year. Happy holidays from Advanced Medical Imaging.
Thank you to all of our valued clients at Nebraska Sign Company for lighting up Lincoln with us. Your trust fuels our creativity. Wishing you, your family, and friends a joyful holiday and a bright new year. Cheers from all of us at Nebraska Sign.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit gocurrency.com and apply today.
In this season of togetherness, support older adults through Tabitha. Remember Lincoln area residents who just don't have the luxury of friends or family nearby, or the means to shop for and cook food. 81% cannot afford to cover the cost of this meal delivery that allows them to remain independent at home. Give the gift of meals with Tabitha Meals on Wheels. Go to tabitha.org/serve and make a donation today. Tabitha Foundation is a purpose-driven 501c3 nonprofit. Your donation is tax deductible.
Have you ever been to Rodizio Grill? Let me tempt you. Start your Rodizio experience with our hot, unlimited appetizers. Indulge on our award-winning gourmet salad bar with over 35 items. Then, 16 delicious, sizzling rotisserie grilled meats and grilled items like our tender top sirloin and Rodizio's signature glazed pineapple, as much as you'd like.
Rodizio Grill, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Nebraska's authentic Brazilian steakhouse, located in the downtown Haymarket.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Mostly cloudy and chilly this evening. A few sprinkles or flurries can't be completely ruled out. Temperature dropping into the upper 20s by midnight. After midnight, partly to mostly cloudy and cold. There is a slight chance of flurries, low in the mid-20s. Wednesday, mostly sunny to partly cloudy and chilly with a high in the upper 30s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Now back to more Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, if you want to be successful at anything in life, you need to have a good team of people around you, people that you can trust, people that you can talk to, people that can encourage you and tell you the absolute truth. In the area of money, it's the same thing. If you want to be successful, you've got to have a team. You can't do this alone. You've got to have a good attorney, banker, investment advisor, accountant, and the list goes on and on. Add to that name, to your team, Jerry Robinson, national economist, best-selling author. He has a great website that I've utilized myself as well called followthemoney.com. My son as well, as we took to a cryptocurrency course through his services. So get that information. And he also has a great book, Bankruptcy of Our Nation. All right, Jerry, we've got a great discussion here for the last half hour or so in regards to inflation, handling our personal finances and debt. In this final segment, let's talk about investing because, like you said, you got to get your finances under control first. Get your debt under control as well. Then we look at investing because that allows us to give hope for the future. What are some steps that people can take in regards to investing with their personal income?
Yes, investing is such an important topic, and it tends to be the thing that people want to go to first. And as you pointed out, if you're underneath a mountain of debt, if you have no savings at all, you want to focus there first. But once you have laid that foundation, once you've got a debt strategy, once you have some savings and a cushion, then it's time to really begin thinking about investing. And when we're investing in uncertain times, we really got to have a balanced approach. So we really, again, going back to that diversification word, you really need to diversify your investments so that you can mitigate risk. That means not putting all your eggs in one basket. And so this means having a holistic approach. And so the way we teach our students here at followthemoney.com is to spread out the wealth. And some of the different areas, of course, people can invest in would be things like real estate. I'm very familiar with the Nebraska real estate market. I've certainly researched that area. I have friends and family in Nebraska. And, real estate can be a really ideal thing. Residential real estate, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes can be a wonderful way to invest for the long term as far as rental real estate. There's obviously the stock market. And if you're not too unsure, if you're unsure about picking individual stocks, you can always look at mutual funds or maybe even better, low-cost ETFs, which are exchange-traded funds, which will provide you some built-in diversification. And then there's also hard assets. There's farmland, which is something that's very common in Nebraska. But then there's also other types of hard assets, maybe gold or maybe silver, or maybe even things like income-producing machinery or things of that nature. And then, of course, there is cryptocurrency, which you just brought up. Cryptocurrency can be a very small portion of your overall investment portfolio. But again, just providing some diversification. You can also invest in your own business, start your own business, and that can be considered an investment. Or you can find someone in your area who needs help investing in their own business, and you can invest in their business. That can be a bit more risky, of course, but nonetheless, it's an area where you could invest. And so there's many different places that you can invest. The reason why we teach people not to put all their eggs in one basket is because the IRS, or basically the tax code, as you were just talking about. So as we think about the tax code, we realize that the tax code incentivizes certain things and it disincentivizes certain things. And the problem is the rules can change at any time. And so because the rules of the game can change, it's important for you and I to remain nimble with our investment portfolio. So if we go all in, say, on real estate, and then the government changes the rules, well, or if we go all into cryptocurrency and then suddenly something happens, And so we really have to spread out our assets across various asset classes. Now, I want to make one real quick comment about IRAs and 401ks, because for many people, that's like the most common way to invest. And I am not opposed to a 401k at all. I think they can be really great tools. The only thing that I would say is that if your company offers a Roth version of the 401k, and if you are, say, 10 or more years away from retirement, then I think that you should strongly consider whether that's right for you. For me, that's what I really focus on is the Roth, because being 10 plus years away from retirement, I want to pay the taxes now as opposed to paying them later. And so a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k for younger individuals or those who are more than 10 years away from retirement, I think that can be a really interesting thing for those who are listening to consider. But again, you want to have a mix: stocks, real estate, bonds, commodities like gold, cryptocurrencies, and then your own business. Having a nice mix. And then one of the last strategies I would mention is to not overlook dollar cost averaging. And this is something we teach our students here. Is so every single week, what I'll do personally, just kind of pulling the curtain back for what I do, is I will dollar cost average invest into stocks and also into cryptocurrencies on a weekly basis. And that's just a habit. And the reason why it's weekly, it really doesn't matter. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly. I just do it weekly. But the importance is to make investing a habit. Just like anything else in our life, if we begin to habitually do anything, well, it's going to lead to something. And in the case of investing, if we're doing it wisely, it can really lead to a very fantastic future. And I would just simply say to those listening to realize that at some point, you're going to meet your retired self. You may not be retired now. Maybe you're listening to me today and you're 40 years old. Well, 20, 25 years from now, maybe 30 years from now, you're going to arrive at that retired age. And you're either going to arrive there with enough money to take care of things, or you're not. And so whenever you invest, think about your future self. Realize you're blessing your future self. You're blessing, the future as you arrive there. And you're also blessing your family. So these are things that we really want to do habitually. We want to be diversified. We want to look across various asset classes. We want to look for tax preferential treatment when we can, such as Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks. And we want to make investing a habit, not something we just do occasionally, but something that we just habitually do over and over and over again. And I promise, if you do it wisely, your future self will definitely thank you.
We have just a minute here, and I want to just get a quick comment. You talked about the future. One of the things at Drive Time Nebraska that we focus on, we ask the question often, is this what's best for our kids, the future generation? One of the things that we did for our kids when they were born is we were able to open up a Roth for them, contribute on a regular basis, little amounts. That Roth helped my son purchase his first home just 2 weeks ago because he was able to take some out. What do you think about that? Like I said, in 60 seconds here, what do you think about opening up a Roth?
If you'd like to listen to the podcast of this show or previous shows, you can go to KLAN.com. Super big thanks to Jerry Robinson and my producer, Wyatt. Only 82,800 seconds left until we see each other again, my friends. I want you to seize every one. Sports Nightly's up next. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
From the Momo Pizzeria and Ristorante Studios, we are the voice of Lincoln. KLIN Lincoln. KDDK HD3 Lincoln. K257GN Lincoln is 1499.3.